You good? No. It's okay. I didn't quite catch the end of that.
Don't rock the jukebox. I want to hear some Jones.
Before he became a name whispered in every idol-loving household across America, John Foster was just a biology freshman quietly navigating college life at LSU. Born and raised in Louisiana, Foster had the kind of small-town charm that doesn't scream superstar at first glance, but that's precisely what made his sudden rise on American Idol 2025 so fascinating. When he first stepped onto that stage, he didn't radiate overconfidence or flashiness. Instead, he brought an eerie calm, a humble presence, and a voice that made even the judges lean in. Within the first few episodes, it became clear that Foster wasn't trying to copy anyone, he was trying to tell his story. A natural storyteller with a voice wrapped in sincerity, he captured attention not with vocal acrobatics but with emotional weight. Many viewers dismissed him early on as just another acoustic guy, but that label disintegrated after one unforgettable performance. Foster had entered Idol almost on a dare from friends. According to local reports, he never saw himself making it past the auditions, let alone the top two. But talent has a way of ignoring expectations. While other contestants were busy showing range and power, Foster played the long game, crafting quiet storms of meaning, singing songs that felt like journal entries. Week by week, his ability to control a room with just a few notes started making waves, not just in the competition, but online. His social media following exploded. Fan edits, duet requests, tears on TikTok. YouTube clips of his renditions were racking up hundreds of thousands of views, especially among Gen Z and millennial fans who preferred soul over showmanship. Foster's image as the underdog started shifting. By the time he entered the final rounds, John Foster wasn't just a contestant, he was a symbol of sincerity, of depth, of something Idol hadn't seen in years, raw, unfiltered authenticity. And yet what came next would define everything, because one performance, one song would change not only how America saw John Foster, but how John Foster saw himself. In the long, glittering history of American Idol, only a handful of moments have ever stopped the show cold, not because of a high note, but because of heartbreak. John Foster delivered one of those moments with a song that came from a place of devastating truth. Titled, "Tell That Angel I Love Her," the original track was not just a competition entry, it was a eulogy set to melody. What the national audience didn't know until he softly introduced the piece was that the song was written for his late friend, Maggie, a high school classmate who tragically passed away in a car accident involving a police cruiser in Louisiana. That grief, heavy and raw, spilled into every lyric, every breath, every trembling chord he played on stage. It wasn't just a performance, it was a private confession witnessed by millions. Carrie Underwood, visibly emotional, mouthed the word "wow" halfway through, while Lionel Richie sat in stunned silence, a tear threatening to break past the brim of his eye. The studio audience barely applauded at first, as if applause would somehow shatter the emotional weight of what they had just witnessed. Social media exploded within minutes. Hashtags like Angel Song and John Foster Maggie trended on X, formerly Twitter, and fans across the country confessed to sobbing uncontrollably. But more than the emotional resonance, the performance flipped the narrative on Foster entirely. He was no longer just the soft-spoken guy from Louisiana, he was an artist, one who could translate personal pain into a universal anthem. Behind the scenes, Idol producers reportedly scrambled to clear rights and marketing assets for the song, while Foster's Spotify monthly listeners spiked by over 100,000 in 24 hours. For the first time, even skeptics were forced to acknowledge that Foster's emotional intelligence was a weapon more powerful than any vocal riff. But this moment wasn't just about grief, it was about guts. In an industry addicted to gloss, John Foster stripped everything down and gave the world a song that was ugly, raw, and beautiful all at once. And from that moment forward, nothing about the competition and nothing about Foster's trajectory would be the same. But fame, as always, doesn't come without friction, and as John Foster ascended in the Idol ranks, the backlash wasn't far behind. It came quietly at first, murmurs online that his performances were too quiet, not dynamic enough, or worse, boring. That tension boiled over when Foster chose to perform a stripped-down version of Rainbow Connection, the classic Kermit the Frog ballad that in the wrong hands can sound like lullaby fluff. Critics and fans alike were divided. Some praised the vulnerability, the daring choice to go minimal when others went maximal, but others saw it as a misfire, a missed opportunity to show range. Idol Twitter turned vicious. Reddit threads accused him of playing it too safe. One reviewer even titled their blog post "John Foster's Whisper Heard Nowhere." It was brutal, and Foster felt it. In a rare off-camera moment caught by a behind-the-scenes documentary team, he admitted to feeling the pressure to turn up the volume, even though that wasn't who he was as an artist. He also pushed back on the criticism, stating that the song deserved a gentle delivery and belting it would have betrayed its meaning. The incident sparked a larger debate about Idol's treatment of artists who don't conform to typical vocal expectations. Do they get boxed out, ignored, or unfairly judged? Foster's fans stood by him fiercely, launching campaigns like Let John Be John, while others argued the show favored louder contestants over emotional subtlety. That week was a turning point not because of the performance, but because of the emotional toll. For the first time, Foster looked visibly shaken, but here's the twist: he didn't back down. In fact, his very next performance featured a haunting version of a James Taylor classic, delivered in near silence, and it won over many of his doubters. He was sending a message, not just to the judges, but to the system itself. His artistry was not up for negotiation. And in doing so, he proved that staying true to yourself in the face of public pressure isn't just brave, it's revolutionary. But even then, few could have predicted the next twist in Foster's journey: a double life that was about to become public knowledge. While most Idol finalists were off rehearsing 24/7 and signing early merch deals, John Foster was quietly cramming for biology midterms. That's right, while captivating millions of viewers every week, he was still attending LSU as a full-time student, studying science and trying to keep his GPA intact. And this wasn't some publicity stunt. Multiple professors confirmed his presence in class, and classmates reported seeing him dashing between labs and late-night Zoom classes after live tapings. It was a dual life that defied logic: a nationally televised music prodigy who still had to write lab reports and take pop quizzes. Foster later admitted that he didn't want to sacrifice one dream for the other. To him, music and biology weren't mutually exclusive. They were both expressions of wonder, curiosity, and connection. But juggling two demanding careers took its toll. There were reports of him falling asleep during tutoring sessions, of missing songwriting deadlines because of group projects. Idol producers were said to be frustrated but impressed, often rearranging call times so Foster could meet academic requirements. Yet this rare blend of stardom and studiousness only added to his appeal. Fans started calling him the smartest idol, and meme pages exploded with edits of Foster singing while balancing chemistry textbooks. It also opened up an unusual fanbase: STEM students who saw him as proof that art and science don't have to live in separate worlds. More than once, Foster was asked whether he'd drop school if offered a record deal. His answer was always the same: "I'll figure out a way to do both." And true to form, he began laying the foundation for his next act, not just as a performer, but as a strategist. He started teasing studio sessions on social media, hinting at something bigger than a post-Idol single. But what was it? A debut album? A surprise collaboration? A genre shift? Whatever it was, Foster was preparing something behind the scenes, and it was only a matter of time before the clues came together. Fans got their first taste of the future when John Foster posted a photo on Instagram, just him, a guitar, and the words "It's happening, cowboy hat face." That cowboy hat emoji set off a wildfire of speculation. Was Foster going country? The rumors intensified when eagle-eyed fans noticed something even more explosive. Carrie Underwood had liked the post and left a fire emoji in the comments. That single interaction launched hundreds of YouTube conspiracy videos. Why? Because just a few days prior, Foster and Underwood had both appeared separately at the Grand Ole Opry in Nashville. While their sets didn't overlap publicly, several backstage photos surfaced showing them talking, laughing, and allegedly discussing upcoming projects. Fans now believe that Underwood may be mentoring Foster behind the scenes, possibly helping shape his transition into the country music world. The clues didn't stop there. In an Instagram story, Foster briefly showed a studio whiteboard with the word duet scribbled under a list of unreleased track titles. Country blogs began buzzing. Nashville insiders whispered that a top 2 Idol finalist was being courted by not one but 3 major country labels. The theory: Foster's clean-cut image, emotional depth, and songwriting skills made him the perfect breakout star for a younger, more introspective era of country music. And frankly, it made sense. Country is having a renaissance, less about trucks and more about trauma, vulnerability, and storytelling. Foster fits the mold perfectly, but he's also resisting labels literally and figuratively. In a live stream Q&A, when asked directly if he was going country, he laughed and said, "I'm going where the stories are." That ambiguity only fueled the fire. Whether or not he signs with a country label, it's clear Foster is embracing something deeper: the power of narrative. And the next move he made would take that narrative and flip it on its head. Then came the leak, one that changed everything. A music industry blog posted a scoop claiming that John Foster had quietly signed a development deal with an indie label affiliated with Republic Records. According to the source, the deal wasn't about rushing an album, it was about crafting something timeless. The alleged plan? A concept album, not a random collection of tracks, but a storytelling journey tracing the emotional fallout of losing a loved one and finding one's voice. Think Taylor Swift's Folklore meets Casey Musgrave's Golden Hour, but with a male perspective soaked in Southern melancholy. The leak also mentioned that Foster had already recorded 5 tracks, 2 of which were co-written with Nashville hitmakers who had previously worked with Chris Stapleton and Brandi Carlo. What shocked fans most was the direction. Gone were the Idol pop covers. Instead, Foster was leaning into folk roots and what insiders are calling post-country storytelling. It was bold. It was risky, and it was undeniably Foster. The leak was never officially confirmed, but just days after it spread, Foster posted a black and white teaser video, just static, a single acoustic note and the words March 2026. Fans went wild. Some cheered, others were confused, but no one could deny this. John Foster was no longer just riding the Idol wave. He was building his own ocean. And in doing so, he had done something few contestants ever achieve. He turned a talent show moment into a movement. The question now, would the world follow him on that next journey, or would he be taking that leap alone? As the credits rolled on Idol Season 23, most viewers assumed they'd seen the end of John Foster's story. After all, runner-ups often fade into the fog of almost famous, relegated to nostalgia clips and State Fair tour, but not this time. Foster has shattered every expectation, refusing to play by the traditional post-Idol rulebook. While winners race to cash in, Foster has chosen the path of patience, precision, and purpose. He's leveraging his platform not for fleeting chart hits but for a legacy, and that's rare. In fact, it's disruptive. In an era where everyone is chasing virality, Foster is building something slower, deeper, and arguably more lasting. He's not just a musician anymore, he's a storyteller, a strategist, and perhaps the most dangerous kind of artist, the one who knows exactly who he is. And yet, the greatest twist of all may be this: John Foster didn't win American Idol. But somehow he won something bigger: control of his art, his message, his future. And that's a plotline no one saw coming. So while America crowned another winner that night on the Idol stage, the real victory may have belonged to the one who didn't take home the trophy. John Foster walked away not with a confetti shower, but with something far more powerful: ownership of his narrative. From the quiet halls of LSU to the roaring lights of national television, from personal tragedy to public resilience, his journey has defied every formula the industry thought it understood. He's the rare artist who isn't chasing trends, he's building truths one story at a time. And whether you're a longtime fan or just now catching up, one thing's clear: we haven't seen the last of John Foster. In fact, we may just be witnessing the beginning of something much bigger. So what do you think? Is Foster the future of country storytelling? Will his debut album redefine what post-Idol success looks like? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit like if you felt something during this story, and don't forget to subscribe for more exclusive stories like this one. Because trust us, the next chapter, it's going to be wild.